Well, if I'm not doing chemo, I sure as hell better do something.
Do you believe it's possible somebody can eat the way you're eating right now and still get cancer or reoccurrence or something? Or do you think it goes against everything that says a person can get cancer if they're eating this way? What do you believe?
Well, I believe that health is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. There are four components to health. And if any one of them is suffering, then that can lead to a breakdown in the function in your body, which could lead to cancer or lots of other chronic diseases. And so the health component is very important. But if all you do is change your diet and you don't get right with God, if you don't forgive people that have hurt you, if you don't remove stress from your life, then you are maybe missing some of the most important keys to healing. Because stress and negative emotions and unforgiveness and a life that is led basically in opposition to your Creator, in opposition to God, rejecting God, creates deep emotional and mental stress in your mind and in your body. When you're under stress, your body raises stress hormones. That's cortisol and adrenaline. Those hormones, when they're up, they will give you energy, but they will also suppress your immune system and be pro-inflammation in your body. And the longer you go, in fact, I just coached a guy this morning. I had a coaching call with a guy, and he was under extreme work stress. He was working 12 hours a day. He was eating junk food nonstop. He was on 4 different prescription medications, which are all immunosuppressant. That is a recipe for cancer. That's how you get cancer.
Sure.
And so anyway, I was doing all those things pretty much, except with the exception of taking prescription drugs. And he had even had a root canal 6 months before. I tell you what, root canals will cause cancer. They can be the tipping point in your health. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have gotten a cancer diagnosis within 6 months to a year of a root canal. And there's another component. This is the mental component. That's the will to live. Some people with cancer do not have a will to live. Maybe they're depressed. Maybe their life has not turned out the way they thought it would. Maybe they are just unhappy with life, and they just don't want to live anymore. And for those kind of people, a cancer diagnosis actually comes as a relief. And they may go through chemotherapy. They may do natural therapies or alternative therapies or whatever. It's usually just to appease their family members. It's not because they really want to live. And you can usually tell these kind of people because they have a bad attitude, they're negative, they complain a lot. They typically have their head in the sand and they're in denial. And so even though they may do something natural or something conventional, whatever, if they don't have the will to live, they won't. I mean, it's just a matter of time. And so it all starts right here. You have to want to live. You have to have something to live for. You have to have a purpose in life. And having the will to live really has 2 components. It's taking complete responsibility for your health. That's the very first component is, hey, maybe this is my fault. It's okay to blame yourself. It's not like you need to beat yourself up about it or feel sorry for yourself or mope around the house, but you just look at your life from a third-party perspective. You evaluate everything you're doing, everything you're eating, everything you're thinking, and you realize that you can change. And when you take responsibility for your health, you say, you know what? My health is the result of the decisions I've made throughout my whole life, pretty much. I may have been exposed to some environmental toxins. It certainly didn't help. But the idea that's being propagated now that cancer and genetics is a complete sham. It's garbage science. Because what we also know scientifically is that there are thousands of phytonutrients in plants that downregulate gene expression. It's called epigenetics. They understand that your diet and lifestyle affect how your genes express themselves, whether positively or negatively. So that's why not every woman with the breast cancer gene gets breast cancer. So there's a lot of hype about genetics causing cancer, and there's a lot of fear-mongering going on. And the reality is you don't have to be afraid of your genes. You're not programmed to fail. Your life and your health are the sum total of the decisions that you've made up until this point. And when you start making different decisions and start putting different things in your body, you will create health in your body. It is possible. Having the will to live is, number one, taking responsibility for your health. But number two, it's being willing to do whatever it takes. Okay? That means running the juicer when you don't feel like it. And I had the will to live. So to me, it was very easy for me to make these radical changes to my diet and life. It was very easy because I was like, well, if I'm not doing chemo, I sure as hell better do something. You know what I mean? And I better do it all the way, 100%, pull out all the stops and overdose on nutrition, right? That was my goal. Overdose on nutrition, put so much raw fruits and vegetables, seeds and nuts in my body every day, so much that it just like had to heal, right? So again, it all starts with your mental attitude. And my attitude was, I'm going to live. I'm going to heal. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to live. And failure is not an option.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.